Good evening, Liverpool. How are we all doing? So you can probably tell from my accent that I'm not from around these places, okay? So I'm kind of, who's the guy who's from Norfolk? Where are you? Where are you? That dude. There he is, yeah. Can tell you, because fucking great at catching, aren't you, with your extra finger? You're brilliant. But, high six, yeah. Where I grew up in a place that can only be described as a shithole. But like every shithole in East Anglia, it's got two things that it's really famous for, actually. And where I'm from, they're famous for teenage pregnancy and morbid obesity. So they do have a comedy club, though, and I always swore that if ever I go back there, I'm never going to do any jokes about those two things, because I don't want my material to be that lazy, which is something that those fat fuckers could learn from, isn't it? But it's the first time I've gigged here, actually. I really like it. And when I gig at a new place, what I tend to do is I try and get a bit of a read of it by going into the toilets. And so I went into the toilets earlier on. I went into one of the cubicles. And on the back wall of one of the cubicles, just behind the toilet, there was some graffiti. And it said, "Are you afraid of revolution?" And I thought, no, I'm not afraid of revolution. But then I did turn around and shit myself. It's just Ripple. Someone over there's just got that. Well done. The thing I wanted to talk about, though, when I came up here this evening is actually, not long ago, I became single, okay? Thank you. Yeah, thank you. And when you become single, you do different things, right? So I decided I'd spend a little bit more time with my family, and in particular, my granddad. And there's three things you need to know about my granddad, okay? He's 94 years old. He really can't see that well, but he is randy as fuck, all right? Now, this resulted in the other day, he rang me up, he said, "John, can you come around and try and help me out with my internet? I'm trying to get on one of these webcams." I went round, blind old bastard trying to wank himself off to Google Earth. It was... We also bonded a little bit over me, because he can't see that well. I did some audio describing of TV programmes to him, you know what it is? So, like the snooker was on the other day, so I did a bit of commentary for him. The darts was on. I said, "Do you want me to do that?" He said, "Not really, I can't see the point." That's a real joke that I've actually written. There you go. The other night, though, he rang me up quite late on, about 11:15. And he said, "I'm struggling to get on with this programme, John. Can you help me out?" I was like, "Sure, Grandad, no problem." "What channel's it on?" He said, "It's on channel 673. He knows. Now, for the females in the audience and the blokes pretending like they don't know, that's Babe Station. I was like, "Grandad, do you really want me to audio describe Babe Station to you? Because the whole point of that is that they can fucking do that for you." He's like, "I know, John, but it's really expensive." Now that is a response that poses more questions than it answers, right? I'm like, "Hang on a minute, Grandad. Is that why you can't afford to pay your heating bills in the winter and you're so cold? Because you're spending it on porn?" He says, "Yes, John, you could say I'm frozen stiff." The punchline of that joke's never really worth the build-up, but it stays in all the same. The other thing that happens, actually, I think, when you become single is occasionally you go, shall we say, looking for love in the wrong places. And I live in Leeds, and Leeds is a big city, so if you know where to go of an evening, say, you know, of a night, in the right streets, you can find kind of whatever you want to find, right? And I'm ashamed to say that 3-4 months ago, one night, I was feeling quite lonely, so I went out to a particular area of Leeds and walked around a little bit, and a woman approached me, and she said, "Oh, hi. Are you looking for business?" And I said, "Yeah." So get off my fucking patch. The other thing that happens as well is you get on dating apps, don't you? You get on dating apps, right? This is it, yeah? And I thought, you know, I might be all right at that. I might not be too bad to do a bit of comedy. I can probably write something. You have to write the bios, don't you? Okay, yeah. So if it's all right, I want to share with you some of the Tinder bios that I wrote, okay? I'm just going to see. Now, I thought it'd be okay. I think as it turns out, probably wasn't quite as good as I thought I might be. You can tell me, see what you think. I thought I'd try and be quite funny, and I think it kind of came off perhaps a little bit more creepy. So this was the first one I went for. I went for John, 38. 38, by the way, that's fucking old to be on. Do you know I know I'm old? It's for Christmas this year, I got chutney. And I was fucking pleased about it. First Tinder bio then. John, 38, new to this, so be gentle. By the way, if this fucks up, you can use this, son, all right? Genuine, kind, easygoing, funny. I know you'll worry about it, ladies, but I promise I am not, repeat, not a serial killer. You have to have killed 3 people to get that badge. I'm only on 2. Likes, wearing your skin as my skin. Dislikes, people who refuse to get in my van. So that one didn't go quite as well as I'd hoped. So I went for another one. Thought I'd try and be a little bit more heartfelt. See how we got on. So I went for John, 38, divorced, looking for love, maybe more. I don't know what that means. Likes, falling asleep in the arms of another. Meeting future in-laws who already feel like family. Yeah, not bad, is it? Dislikes, people who don't enjoy the simple things in life. Like long rides in my van. To a disused quarry. In the end, I thought I'm just going to have to be entirely honest, and so I went for Sebastian 28 airline pilot. So basically what I realised is I was shit at this, and so I looked around for people in my life that I could find inspiration from, and there's a couple I know called Grant and Victoria who I work with, and they actually have an AGM of their relationship every year. This is a true story, okay? So they will have an annual general meeting every January about the things they want to do in that year, review their previous life, and they take that sort of approach. So I thought I'm going to take more of a business approach to my being single, okay, and see how that works. So I appointed myself as chairman and chief executive of Halton's Independent Traders, okay? And then what I'd like to do is actually share with you, for me, the presentation that I did at the AGM when I was presenting on my own life. I need a volunteer for this, actually. Would you, who wants to be a volunteer? Would you be a volunteer, sir? Come on up here. Just, if you can just grab here, okay. What's your name? It's not about you, doesn't matter. Right, Chris, give me a second, sorry. No, this is Chris, thank you very much, Chris. Right, I'm just going to share with you just a few graphs here that I've prepared. I'm going to start you with a really simple one. Chris, if you can just sort of rotate this so people can see around here. So this is a really simple graph, okay? This is a graph of relationships. So this is 2017, 2018 review of my life, basically. We can see all the way through 2017 and actually almost to half year, certainly through Q1 of 2018, I was tracking pretty healthily at one relationship, okay? What happened in May, when my girlfriend left, is there was quite a significant drop-off in the number of relationships that I was... My friends described it as a 100% drop-off in the number of relationships I was part of. The second graph I just want to share with you is a graph of tears. Graph here goes from, again, always the same along the bottom, 2017, 2018, and then it goes from naught to lots. 2017, I was doing fine. There was some tears here when I realised that my beloved Leeds United weren't going to make the playoffs. I watched a particularly poignant documentary on some chained-up Russian bears. Had a bit of a weep. But then we get the real spikes here. This is when my girlfriend left me, and this one even bigger. That was when England got knocked out of the semi-finals of the World Cup. So went pretty bad. The final graph that I want to share with you is a graph of sex. Okay, this might look familiar to you. Again, we've got, this goes from naught to lots. This here has sort of got some. There's a bit of a peak there, went on holiday. This drops down here because I had actually quite a serious hip injury. Kind of goes up and down a little bit. That's where she went travelling in South America and never came back. But that's where I visited her in Argentina, and this is where we had the inevitable breakup sex. The brighter amongst you will have realised there's 2 lines on this graph. That's sex with my girlfriend. That's sex with myself. Never at 0. And you can kind of see how that's tracking. And all the trends are actually that through into 2019, that trend is set to continue. So, when you take into account all of these things, okay, all these measures, which I like to call JPIs, John Performance Indicators, I am overall 67% down on happiness year on year, okay? So I thought, well, I had to do something, and the only thing I could do when you're chairman and chief executive of your own life and it's going that badly is that you have to sack yourself. And I thought, right, well, who can take my life to the next level and make it a lot better? And I went for this guy, which is Sebastian, 28, airline pilot. I've been John Halton. Thank you very much. Hope you have a good rest of the night.
Oh, what a great start! Give it up for John Halton! Hey. We have got 2 more acts in this section. The next one's called Tom Furlong. Let's make him feel dead welcome. Let's start stamping our feet